You can be like a really well put together person. Like, let's say you can be like a lecturer, right? You know, like a charismatic university professor, somebody who's really, 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 by most definitions at least, smart. And then because of maybe like you have a bad turn in your life, negative circumstances, you know, your wife leaves you, whatever the fuck, you're right, you're upset. All of that intelligence can just fucking bleed out of your brain, and you can be a dumbass again, like that. If you're upset enough, or if you don't practice intelligence, right? Like your upsetness gets in the way. Those skills erode, right? They atrophy, and you can all of a sudden be like indistinguishable from kind of a dumb guy. Your conclusions, they're kind of dumb now, right? You're not capable of exercising, flexing those muscles. Depression does make people fucking stupid, and that just makes them more depressed. You know, depression, it's weighing down on the
This scenario
faculties of
looks
reason in
like
your
a
brain. You
defense
know, they're
of
being
Greenland UO.
saturated with either hormones or a lack of the hormones that you need, depriving you of the ability to do the things that are necessary to be intelligent. So then depressed people are like, oh, well, my depression is valid because I'm stupid. And then they get more depressed and la di da
Also,
da.
Vaus.
I think you said it 5 years ago, like any other muscle, you have to work it out regularly. Yeah, 100%. Nobody gets to be good at everything, you know? You will only ever get to be as good as you can at the things that you decide are worth the time you're going to put into them.
200% off.
Anyone could be great at guitar. Are you willing to put the time in? Anyone could be great at public speaking. Are you willing to put the time in? And if you're not, maybe that's okay. I do think that for some things, though, you should expect everyone to do your best in it. Literacy, for example, literacy is kind of like a gateway to an enormous amount of knowledge. I think it's reasonable to expect everyone to be pretty proficient in it. I would always push for high standards on that, you know? I don't think everyone should need to play guitar.
Spontaneity. And spontaneity of life. Hardly such questions set up a false what does that mean?
The conviction.
Dichotomy.
Dichotomy. A false dichotomy. What does that mean? A dichotomy. A division or contrast between two things that are or represented as being opposed or entirely different.
Hitting the double, what does that mean, would break me. Yeah, but if once you overcome enough double, what does that mean? Eventually they stop happening.
Repeated branching into two dichotomy.
No, you'll get to pronounce it correctly one of these days. I think this is based as hell. Can we still make fun of Aiden Ross for not knowing how to read? Yeah, but Aiden Ross doesn't try to learn how to read. That's the difference. Aiden Ross is illiterate, but he's like boldly outspoken on the things that he's illiterate about. If Aiden Ross wanted to learn how to read or whatever, I mean, I don't think it'd be bad, right? It wouldn't hurt. Charles McBride? No, I don't know anyone named Charles McBride. Funnily enough, I think learning what terms and ideas are by having an encyclopedia or using an AI that combs through that to present you the info in a more digestible form is kind of good, maybe? No, what's the point of learning if every time you come across something that stumps you, an AI like restructures it so that it doesn't stump you? Isn't the point that you're supposed to learn? How does that help? Like, you don't understand the math equation, so it replaces it with an easier math equation? You gotta use your brain. You're never going to learn it if you're stumped, my guy? What the fuck are you talking about? Yes? He didn't know the word, so he looked up the word, and then he knew the word. What do you... I don't know with you people, okay? Go read for 20 minutes every day. Guess we can't put that off forever. If it's something you cannot comprehend, you're never going to learn. If ChatGPT gives people like this the opportunity to learn at their own level, I don't need to engage with this attention-seeking contrarianism. Be gone. A week. I get, like, if ever you are going to devil's advocate the benefits of AI, doing it the moment we're talking about, like, trying to better yourself with literacy, Jesus Christ, like the worst possible application. There is literally no situation where you want AI to be involved in your literacy journey, okay? Read books that are at your level. If you guys need to read fucking books that are written, like YA books, like written for a 6th grade level or whatever, then do that, okay? And then maybe one day you can read, you know, House of Leaves, and then you can spoil it for me as a punishment to me for not having read it already. Wash is the difference between good communication and bad communication. If ChatGPT can understand what the fuck is being said in this moment. What the fuck are you genuinely actually okay? What the fuck are you talking about? If you come across a word you don't understand, you can look up the word. If there are multiple words you don't understand, you can look up multiple words, and then eventually you understand the sentence. If the book consistently pitches sentences that are incomprehensible to you, read an easier book. What you somebody's trying to read Grapes of Wrath, and they're like, "This is too hard. Grok, give me an easier Grapes of Wrath. I want a Grapes of Irate." And then they pitch you some SparkNote shit. Like, what are you talking about? Just read the fucking book. That's what the AI is doing. No, it's not. What are you? Why are you insane? What are you talking about? You can look up a word in a day. You can just Google a word. I think you're not meeting the middle. This is not about grammar. It's about grasping concepts. AI will explain shit in different terms until shit clicks. Oh my god. What? Okay. In what situation would you be presented a sentence in a book that would require you to use AI to understand it? Why can't you just look up the words in the sentence? If the sentence is incomprehensible to you, you're probably reading a book that's too advanced for your level. If by getting AI to rephrase it, you're not learning how to read, all you're doing is getting SparkNote shit thrown at you. You're doing the opposite of learning how to read. You're getting a plagiarism machine to filter information down to your level. Treat it like an exercise. If you can't do an exercise, that doesn't mean you get to do it with bad form as a way of compensating for your inability to, like, do the exercise with good form. Like, oh, I can't do 10 push-ups with perfect form, so let me fucking like you're not. What are you getting from this? Just do fewer push-ups or do knee push-ups? Like, why do you have to introduce the demon tech into the system? How is this people used to be more literate than they are now. They didn't have AI back then. I promise you that the use of AI is not assisting people in their literacy. It's doing the opposite. All available information indicates that it's doing the opposite. They think AI will be more useful because some stray dictionary definitions can be hard to parse. Then that's life, man. Sometimes you can't do an exercise. Like, well, I don't know. If you can't read the book, then you can't read the book. I don't, like, it literally is a skill issue. So just read a different book. Read an easier book. I don't understand. AI makes us lazier thinkers and less able to learn. Yeah, I know that. I just don't understand why people think, like, we're living in an era of unprecedented, like, at least within modernity, unprecedented illiteracy, and this technology is facilitating that. I don't understand how implementing it could possibly help. Yesterday you said you'd take a look at this. Since they cut off Iran's internet, the princes, that's the son of the Shah, views have dropped from 30 to 90 million to 2.8 to 5.5 million. This shows most of the Shah's fans are inside Iran. The difference in these numbers reaches 30 to 80 million. The prince's main fans are in the middle of the streets. That doesn't necessarily follow. An incredibly interesting observation, the number of views of Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi's videos have dropped from 30 to 90 million to 3 to 6 million after the internet blackout in Iran. This strongly suggests the vast majority of the prince supporters are indeed in Iran. That doesn't necessarily mean support. It's possible that people in Iran could be watching his videos like very, very much, but it's not an indication of support. You know, like it's of relevance to their country, right? I don't expect people outside of Iran to be super, super invested in the going-ons of the, you know, crown prince. I don't necessarily trust this. The Granada loyalist, hail Granada and God save the king. They chose kings and princes for freedom, lol. A perfectly reasonable choice considering that despite constituting only 20% of the world's nations, 55% of the top 20 democracies in the world are monarchies. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how popular the prince is in Iran, but the idea that you know, the majority of his views were coming from inside Iran makes sense to me. I don't necessarily think that entails support. It's possible that it was just flavor of the month for a while. Bosch is a Russian who watches our opposition media. People are defo not even 50% hate watching media they don't agree with. I'm not saying they're hate watching it necessarily. I'm just, it's of interest to their country, you know? I think it's possible they might just be checking it out because it's like going viral internally or it's deeply relevant to them, but it doesn't all necessarily translate to support. Also, even if they like the message that he's putting forward, that doesn't necessarily mean they're okay with him being the fucking prince. What's his This is Instagram, right? Is this Instagram or Twitter? No, this is Twitter, right? No, TikTok. Sorry, TikTok. It is Instagram? It's Insta? Isn't Insta like Square? Okay, whatever. Instagram. I assume these are subtitled. It would seem I was wrong.
ایستادید و می جنگید. رژیم سعی داره با سرکوب شدید و کشتار و قطع ارتباطات در شما ایجاد رعب و ترس بکنه و مایوس از ادامه این حرکت و مبارزه. اما این را بدانید که به خاطر همین فعالیت‌های شما و تلاش‌های شما هزاران نفر از نیروهای انتظامی و نظامی سر کار نرفتند تا درگیر نباشند در سرکوب شما. و یک پیام ویژه به متخصصین حوزه اینترنت و ارتباطات.
Okay, so I think the idea that the majority of this guy's views are coming in from Iran especially makes sense when you consider the fact that they're uncaptioned and in Farsi. Like, who the fuck else would be watching these? Is this one captioned?
ملت عزیز ایران، هموطنان شجاعان، شما در 2 هفته گذشته به ویژه در 4 روز اخیر با تظاهرات میلیونی پایه‌های رژیم نامشروع جمهوری اسلامی را به لرزه درآورده اید. اینک با اتکا به پاسخ میلیونی شما به فراخوان‌های روزهای گذشته و با مشروعیت و مقبولیتی که
We don't have any translator because our Iranian chatters can't connect to VGG. Yeah, I had a weird fucking moment. I was going through emails and I was a bit backlogged and I saw that I'd received an email from an Iranian that was sent just a little bit before the protest began. So I sent a response, but like I was like, man, I don't think you're getting this. Your net's shut down.
Sad news ama.
like you're alive when this email gets through. It's likely that he will be. Just, you know, it's just kind of weird.
Tundus adekvaatne.
We can't put it off any longer. An hour, 5 minutes, and 56 seconds. Channel 5, Andrew Callahan, you bastard. You've done it again.
In Minnesota
Peli
is the most
pelasit.
viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, than anybody other than the name of Mr.
Pean minni het
Beast.
sunnuntai demo mängimä.
Altogether it did about
Wait. What? What?
my video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota
LOL
is the most
ja
viewed
kohe
video
mõtlesin
ever
sama.
by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast.
Nängin 30
Sorry,
minuuttia
wait, that-
pärast äkki.
There's literally... It's 3.6 million views. That's not... What? Okay. Oh, does he mean Twitter views? The completely illegitimate view counter that
Ok.
like
Vöit
you just
siis
scroll
resultit
past it?
Discordi
The
panna.
one where it would get boosted
Maanantai
because every
selleks
single, like a
hetkiks
ton of people
tuduun.
are dunking on it, and like everyone, like the every admin state, they're all the branches are all quote tweeting it and constantly regurgitating it over and over and over again. Gotcha.
Altogether, it did around 500 million views.
Who do you think were the main people who signal boosted the video and brought it into that true viral orbit?
Elon Musk, who shared the video. JD Vance, he shared the video. You had the Attorney General, but she actually didn't share it. She reacted to the video a few days later. Literally, quite frankly, every account on X saw that video instantaneously. Health and Human Services, they froze all funding to childcare inside Minnesota, and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses that are not really businesses.
As far as that main center that you visited, Quality Learning, aka Quality Learning Center.
Yeah.
This guy genuinely looks very unintelligent. Oh, well, that's the only reason why I caught on to this. There's a point, at some point in this enormous video, there is a demonstration of extraordinary illiteracy on his end. He seems like actually quite slow, like very, very stupid. But you can make fun of him for it as much as you want because A, he's not trying to learn, and 2, he's a federal agent who works with a fascist administration to justify authoritarian crackdowns on non-white populations.
Were any kids there in the first place?
No. So that daycare center, it's been operating fraudulently. It's actually had over 90 violations over the past few years. And the day that I went there at 11 a.m. Their operating hours are from 2 to 10 p.m., they're now saying. And that's actually not legal.
So you said you went there at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Yes,
And their operating hours are between 2 and 10 p.m.?
allegedly.
But if that is true, would it have made sense that you didn't see any kids there?
Yeah, it would have made sense if I didn't see children there. Either way, whether I was there when kids were supposed to be there or not, why are all the windows boarded up? Or why are all the windows blacked out? Why is there no phone number that leads to anywhere? These businesses are supposed to be operating to serve children. People should be able to check in their child there and their children into these daycares.
I know this is all like really tired at this point, but I hope everyone, like, you're all aware. It's super normal for daycares to not let people just stare at children through the windows. That's like really normal because people wouldn't want strange men staring in through the windows. It's very normal.
It's literally impossible.
Did you see some of the footage released by CBS Minnesota affiliate station that showed kids entering and exiting the facility?
Yeah, the one on the ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that one received over $1 million. It's licensed for 40 children. CBS, I believe, they go in there the day after I post my video. Obviously, they're gonna have children there when they're getting all this heat.
I take my kids here, 2 o'clock to 10. Yeah, there's a lot of kids inside.
And same thing at that daycare. Why are all the windows blacked out? This is a daycare.
Why is he still repeating this talking point, man? He's been confronted on this one on mainstream news too. Like They're like, don't you think it's normal that a daycare would black out their windows so people can't just wander up from the street and stare at children? He's like, yeah, I guess. And then he says it because he's retarded. I know it's because he's retarded, okay? But I have to ask. I have to ask. I think that, man, I'm not the first person to make this point, but I think it's really worth, fuck, how do I make this point, okay? We're committing intellectual suicide as a nation, or at least half of us are. The first wave of what I guess I would call like modern conservative influencers, you know, ranging from people like Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or Tucker Carlson or whatever, were essentially just the same people who have always been conservative pundits incorporating their work into new mediums, you know? But if all you eat is trash, all you're going to get is trash. Since Trump became the front runner in the Republican presidential race in 2016, there has been a race to the bottom. The truth is, you cannot like what Trump says unless you're stupid. The vast majority of the Republican Party that fell in line were aware of the fact that what they were saying was complete bullshit, right? I mean, they've always lied, but obviously things have gotten worse, you know? Trump doesn't just lie on like key points, or he doesn't like just lightly misrepresent things or whatever. Trump just blatantly lies all the time about insignificant stuff that you could instantly check him on. Like, he does it all the time, but you all need to present a clean front, right? So all of these intelligent Fox News broadcasters, you know, and I don't think Glenn Beck's a dumb guy. I don't think that Tucker Carlson's a dumb guy. I don't think Jesse Waters is a dumb guy, even if, I mean, like, despite the way he acts or whatever, I don't think he's stupid. All of them understand the new game. The new game is, we just say whatever we want, you know? I thought you said Trump wasn't capable of lying. Sorry, aggrandizing, saying incorrect things, whatever you prefer. I think Trump used to be capable of lying. I just don't know if he can anymore. Whatever the case may be, you understand my point. They all knowingly lied. But the problem is, this guy, Nick Shirley, this guy is the new generation, all right? He is literally 5 years old. Like, he was a little zygote when Trump was first elected. He's a little baby. And when all you eat is garbage with nothing moderating it, this is what you get. I think that Nick Shirley is the first true example we've seen of a person as stupid as you would need to be to regurgitate Republican propaganda, doing the Republican propaganda. Finally, we have arrived at one. Not somebody who has to lower themselves to the intellectual palate of the people who consume their product. Now we have somebody who's speaking at the level. You know? He's 23 years old, this is embarrassing. Yeah, but what do you expect? This is exactly what a person would be like intellectually if this is the environment that their brain was cooked in. He can be 23, in 5 years he's going to be 28, in 10 years he's going to be 33. Right now I'm 31, I'm almost 32. It doesn't really matter how old he is. This is the future of the Republican Party. The only reason the Republican Party was able to survive Trump's first term in a way that it might not Trump's second was because there were enough people around who were aware of the fact that they were all full of shit. They could still do math. But what's happening in this administration? They're literally going after the Federal Reserve Chairman because he did math, and they don't like that he did math. They want him to do math different. Math should be zero. Interest rate should be zero. A bunch of fucking cavemen attacking a nerd because he knows how to do math correctly. The anti-intellectualism is reaching a breaking point. This, though, is perfect. Nick Shirley is perfect. He is the distillation of this, like, long process, right? This is what happens. It's the divide in intelligence between conservatives and liberals is only going to get more and more sharp over time. You know, re-education camps might stop being like an edgy, tanky Twitter phrase and might turn into like genuine humane policy on behalf of future Democratic administrations. Like it won't even be like a Fed posting thing. They'll just be like, these people can't dress themselves. We need like a conservative school or something. Like they genuinely cannot function in society.
Why can't a lady just give me a paper to enroll a child? This door is locked.
This facility is licensed for 40 children.
Well, I guess maybe. I'm just trying to think from all perspectives and help you clear up some misconceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure like if you're going with a camera and like 3 or 4 dudes, some of whom are like larger security looking guys, some had face gaiters on, maybe there's a fear that there's like something weird going on or it just seems unfamiliar and they feel like they don't want to let you in.
Yeah, they might feel that fear, but if they're operating legally, why why would they have anything to fear? And the neighbors around it said they have not seen a child there for 8 years. If you go on Google Maps right now, you can actually see the images of the daycare progress over the past few years. And starting in 2021, the door is boarded up from the image from Google Maps. So I think
fascinating. I wonder if anything might have changed around 2021 that might cause businesses to board up their windows. Nope, can't think of anything.
If you show that, it's actually pretty crazy to see. And then they moved the building and they cut open a door on the backside of the building as well, where they had a quality learning center. One man's been living there since 2017, hasn't seen a single child. And when I go and post my video on X, a lot of people were saying, well, Nick, you went during winter break. Well, actually, I went December 16th. School was still in session, so kids should still be going to daycare.
I don't want to keep having to repeat it, but like we're all really like basking in the cadence, right? Like he genuinely is not. Like it sounds like he's struggling to communicate even basic ideas. It's really again, it's like what I said with in the Joe Rogan segment. Like it's humiliating to me that the long-term health of my country is at risk due to the arbitrary whims of these very like unwell people. You know.
The following days after the video link goes viral and gets over 100 million views, they have a person come out and he says, no, we're open. I'm the manager. I'm the son of the owners. We're open. At that same time, simultaneously, the lady who's in charge, the commissioner of children of Minnesota, says the daycare closed a week ago.
Quality Learning Center, which Brown says permanently closed last week.
While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously.
So I filmed my video, daycare is allegedly open. Then, a few days later, the lady says that the daycare was closed, while the guy's outside telling people that the daycare is open.
I mean, it seems like that learning center has had a serious history of violations.
Quality Learning Center, yes.
Yeah, going back.
Is it still called a re-education camp if it's the first time they're being educated? That's actually a great question. At that, like, it's just school, man. We're just sending your ass to school. You wasted your first chance.
To 2020.
Yeah, it's literally not a daycare.
But how could they have violations related to childcare if there was no kids there?
Yeah, the way they're operating inside of there, they had the violations. Those people are not able, they were operating fraudulently inside that daycare.
But fraud would mean there's no kids, but the violations relate to like poor safety conditions that put the kids in danger.
And so why would they be operating, and why would Minnesota continue to be giving them millions of dollars?
That's a different, so there are kids? That's a different claim.
If they're receiving all these violations.
That seems like a really valid question.
Yeah.
Why do you think Minnesota would be giving a daycare center with so many violations so much money?
Well, that same man at Quality Learning Center who was saying that they were open after the commissioner was on the live stream saying they were closed a week ago was also partying with the mayor of Minneapolis.
The manager of the infamous Learning Center in Minneapolis, also one of the guys that was dancing in the back of Mayor Jacob Frey's election victory video, the one that went super viral.
I bet you this video right here, this one, it probably has like 18 million views on TikTok.
Where he thanks his constituents in Somali for re-electing him last month.
So you feel like there's kind of like some non-profit industrial complex type of deal happening?
For sure.
And the agenda is just for people to leech off the government and get free stuff?
81% of the Somali population inside Minnesota is living on welfare. And 89% of the fraud being committed inside Minnesota is by the Somali population.
So what do you think the solution to something like that is?
Go freeze the funding. Each business can then prove if they are legit, and if they can't, cut the funding. And so far, no business has sent any information to the HHS showing that they're legit. As of today, they've had 3 days to do it. They haven't been able to prove it. They haven't even tried to make the effort to show that they're a legit business.
Why the fuck would they need to do that? A YouTuber made a video on us. Time for us to submit a bunch of court documents to the, what?
It was closed, then it was open, and now we've confirmed it's closed again. That's all after the owners recently rejected allegations of stealing taxpayer money.
Do you trust America and the government specifically to handle our taxpayer funds correctly and properly if they have access to more of them?
No, I don't think any of us should. I mean, just last year alone, over $120 billion were misplaced.
So you have a general distrust in the government?
No, I don't have a distrust necessarily in the government, but do I think we should trust the government 100%? No. It's kind of like having faith. Like, do you want to have faith that God's real? Yes. When we die, will we for certain know exactly where we're going? You kind of walk with faith in a way where you hope that the people that you elect are going to work for your best interest. Do you know for
What the fuck is this argument? What the fuck are you saying?
certainty that the best thing is happening inside the country? Every single time you pay taxes, it's going to go to the place that needs it? No. But on that case, do I feel certain that I know where I'm going to go when I die because of my faith? Yes. But does that mean that it's going to actually happen? Who knows until we pass the other side. So, and then another thing is, we as Americans, how should we feel comfortable knowing that there are daycares receiving millions of dollars while some families are paying upwards of $70,000 a year for their children to be going to daycare?
The analogizing between government and God is so telling. You mean with regard to like the slave mentality shit? Yeah. It's so un-Christian as well, right? Like Christ was pretty clear on the distinction, you know, render unto Caesar, etc., etc. So this like, yes, well, my belief in the usefulness of government can be analogized to my faith in Christ the Savior. Really? That's the framework you're pulling from? You don't have like an internal like metaphysical divide, like ethically speaking, between your conception of the divine and of the material? That's crazy. Your brain is soup. For what it's worth, he's Mormon. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
Here. Did you ever hear about the Amy Bach case?
The white lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy Bach acknowledged the government has proven fraud among meal sites and vendors, and
like the one thing that he knew about her was that she wasn't Somali.
Sponsored Under Feeding Our Future, but that it was others, not her.
If you look at the probe that began in 2023, as far as like COVID era, you know, scamming and different types of fraud, there's been over like 60 convictions and millions seized from the fraudsters who took the money away.
Yeah.
But you feel like the state hasn't done enough.
Well, Tim Walz has said they've been stopping to fight fraud since 2019.